Hey YouTube, this is Wrestling Amusement Park Fan 62. Uh, this is my review of Backlash 2023. Now, first of all, before I begin, I would like to say two things. First of all, the crowd for both SmackDown on Friday night and then Backlash Saturday night was crazy. They were very into the matches, so they would boo with certain people, then they would cheer with other people. Second of all, I like some of the camera angles they did. So instead of just showing the outside of the arena and then the standard camera angle from the hard camera pointing down, they had what looked like a drone that was flying through. So I hope they continue that more. So with that out of the way, um, the first match to start the show was Bianca Belair versus Io Sky for the Raw Women's title. Now, with this match, it could have easily gone either way. Io really put up a heck of a fight versus Bianca, and it showed why Io deserved to be in this match. And some of the stuff was very cool, like the one arm slam from Bianca and stuff like that. Winner was Bianca. Now, I did like the fact they started to tease um, either the separation of damage control or the separation of EO and Dakota from Bailey. Um, so that will go over time. The next one, the oddball of the show, was Seth Rollins versus Omaz. Now, for the first probably third to a half, it was like Seth Rollins versus a brick wall. Uh, Anything Seth would do, Omaz stopped it right there. Um, I will say this is one of the first times you will ever see Seth Rollins struggle in a match. And, you know, with a lot of Seth's offense, um, that he normally does, it was basically non existent in this match. The cool thing I liked he did at the end was the super stomp from the, I think it was second turnbuckle. So that was pretty cool. Um, Even in defeat, Omos is getting better. Um, and so one of the cool things about this match as well was the crowd was singing Seth's theme song. And that was really angering Omos. So now the next match on the show was Bobby Lashley versus Bronson Reed versus Austin Theory for the U.S. title. Now, the thing about this match was you sort of saw it coming. Um, and I love the fact with this match, uh, Bronson Reed got a lot more in than he normally does. So that's a start. Um, Bobby Lashley was still in it as he normally is, but you could tell he just really wasn't in his zone with this because he would try and do the hurt lock, they would get out of it. So overall, it was a decent match. Of course, Austin Theory won by um, a spear from Bobby Lashley to Bronson Reed. Austin Theory got Bobby out of the way, and he picked up the pin. Now, for the SmackDown Women's title was Rhea Ripley versus Selena Vega. Now, um, with Rhea Ripley, she did her normal entrance, but for Selena, you could tell this was in a very emotional match for her because this was in front of her home country. Um, a lot of her family and friends were there in the front row as well. Um, Now the other thing I liked as well was her gear was the colors of Puerto Rico's flag. And then so she had this cool cape thing where when she extended it out, it was just like a larger version of the Puerto Rico flag. Now, um, this was very cool to see, and how the crowd really got into this. Same with another match coming up, and how they really was into Selena in this match. Um, Giving her that Puerto Rican vibe, I guess you would say. Um, Unfortunately, this was a quick match, but the thing I liked was even in defeat, Zelina Vega got applause from the crowd. Um, and you could tell for the whole match, she was very emotional over this because she was performing in front of everybody in Puerto Rico, trying to make them proud. Now, the next one, this is one where I felt like it could have main evented the show, but and this was Bad Bunny versus Damien Priest. Now, this one all started on the Raw after WrestleMania. Bad Bunny was a guest invited by WWE. He was sitting there in the front row at the Raw after WrestleMania, and to a point, this whole feud was sort of almost like a one-sided thing till the last couple of weeks. Now, the thing about this was both performers were Puerto Rican, um, but there was a humongous, bigger ovation for Bad Bunny. Now, the cool thing about this was um, when Bad Bunny came out, first of all, the crowd went ballistic, but also he stopped, turned around, and went and he had a shopping cart that was just full of weapons. So you had like trash cans, kendo sticks, you name it. And so he rolled that to the ring. And I saw this later on. It was sort of like who was that, New Jack or somebody like that. This match sort of gave you ECW vibes. And to the most part, for the first half to a third, Bad Bunny was getting his butt kicked in this match. But where it started to turn was when Judgment Day came out, because both Bad Bunny and Damien Priest were laying out on the mat. So then Judgment Day came out and started beating up um, uh, Bad Bunny. So not long after that, um, Rey Mysterio came out to a humongous pop as well. But and then at that point it was 3 versus 2. This is where it started to change, because the next person who came out was Carlito, um, to humongous applause, pop, and that was neat. Then the other person who came out to humongous applause, pop as well, was Sadio Vega. Um, so that was funny to see, and then also the LWO came out as well. So that was pretty neat to see basically the whole Latino world order getting together to beat up the Judgment Day so Bad Bunny can do his own thing. Um, it was awesome to see Bad Bunny do a Canadian Destroyer again. So, Bad Bunny won that. The next one, which I felt like it could have been higher up on the show, was the Bloodline versus Kofi, um, not Kofi, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Matt Riddle. Now, this is one that's been going on for a while, and I hope after this match, that whole storyline has ended to start going into Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia in 4 weeks' time. Now, first of all, the other thing I like about this match as well, which I still feel like it should have been higher up on the card, was the tension between the Usos and Solo Sikoa, because there was a part toward the end where it looked like Solo was going to do the Samoan spike onto, I think it was Jimmy. So I like that. So the winner of that was the Bloodline. And lastly, this also all started on the Raw after WrestleMania as well, was Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar. Now, this one was rather interesting because it did start on the Raw after WrestleMania. And so Cody was supposed to team up with Brock Lesnar to face, I think, Roman, one of the Usos. And Cody or Brock Lesnar turned around and they basically F5'd him. So, and then over the course of the weeks, Cody was calling Brock a coward and stuff like that. So, this match was rather interesting, because basically a lot of what Cody has been known for in his time in WWE and even outside WWE basically had no effect. So Cody had to think outside the box with this. So when Brock Lesnar hooked in the Kimura lock, Cody basically put his Brock's shoulders on the mat for the 1, 2, 3, even though he was busted open. So that was rather interesting. So overall, this was a great show. I hope they can get back to Puerto Rico again because this crowd was crazy. If this has any indication of what international crowds will be like, it's going to be good. So overall, I give this a solid 8 out of 10 show.